strange
Windows,
scale.
oh, that's a bummer when that happens. You know what? No pressure, Cedric. No pressure. We're streaming now. Actually, this is all live.
Okay, so let me reset transform. That's not done anything. Zoomed me in. Transform, fit to scale, fit to screen. Right,
we should be streaming, people. Coming up in a few minutes' time, Daily Chaos and the OBG show with old Cedric Edwards.
I'm in a very bad place right now. Sorry to cut across you.
Oh no, that's all right. That's all right. Bit of music for you, folks. Bit of music coming up. I'll sort out the echo and all that because I've just got to put my cans in and change from the speaker.
Yeah, well, I think we've gone a bit premature with this. Even if we went, you know, we had a minute left, but
that's all right.
Something's happened to my system.
We can wait a few minutes. That's no problem. We get this right. This is a first, people, for Daily Chaos and for OBG, old Cedric too, because we're
absolutely the first for me. I've been running for months with no problems, and I do interviews most Saturdays, and everything works. So it's just one of those things. Zoom me in, window capture.
I've just
scale
managed to cock up.
In, disable.
Tech hell is the order of the game on Daily Chaos, and I am transmitting my virus, as you can probably hear from my vocal cords, to my co-host today, Cedric Edwards. What's going on, Cedric? What is the issue there? All your windows have gone skew with.
Yes, I've got say 1, 2, 3 for 20 windows or so, and one of the windows, the Zoom window, wasn't scaling right. So I hit an option that said rescale window. It said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I said yes, and it's rescaled every single thing that I've ever done, my background wallpapers and the video and everything. So I'm just going to see if I can reset with a button click. Resize.
You didn't want to do that. You didn't want to do that.
Do that? Absolutely not.
Look, I'm going to put on a bit of music, folks. Coming up in 2-3 minutes, 4-5 minutes. You know what? We got plenty of time. We're all going to end up in the gulag anyway. Hey, yeah. Oh, what's that? Yeah, Dave Fergie. God bless him. Copyright free.
Okay. I should have a backup.
Just about to lose my mind. I was going to Arizona, on to California.
2-3 minutes, people. 3-4, whatever. Just get a cup of tea or a glass of wine or a beer. Big old dose of COVID-19.
Need more what I'm schooling, born to just walk the line. Living on Tulsa time. Living on Tulsa time. Set your watch back to it. You know that I've been through it. Living on Tulsa time.
The music's very loud. Is that your levels good, Bill?
You know
oh
what?
boy,
my levels are probably all over the place. I'll tell you, Cedric, I need a desk producer or a more technical brain. One of the two. You understand this stuff. You actually understand this stuff. But ironically, you're the one that's cocked up tonight. press the ejector seat button. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm just going to install a backup. I've got backups of my profiles. The latest one I done on August the 16th.
What do you use for your window management? Max 2 or something like
that? How do you mean window management?
Well, all your windows went skew with, yeah, when you open up the Zoom thing or something. Or...
No, not Windows. I mean OBG. OBG's completely just not working. It's like
which bit? What, the stream or?
Yeah, it's absolutely. No, the stream's working, but all of the windows are misshapen and they've scaled differently. Okay, I've got one here. Let me just find close. Dean collection, import.
Sounds like Western politics. Yeah, big cheers to Dave Fergie. Liverpool Beat. This is, yeah. Copyright free, Clegg Book. Pain in the arm.
You know what? I'm going to just appear on your show as I am.
Yep.
And try to do what? Trying to find a solution on the fly, and I don't have one. 4 minutes over time.
Cedric, no, it's all right.
Right,
look,
my Windows.
Would you rather start at say 1:15, and I can pull you. You can go off Zoom for now.
Yeah, I think it would be better that we went out late, or well, at least you've informed your users that you are around, which is good for the people who came in on time. I go out. Yeah. I've been out late several times, and I think my viewers will be a bit more forgiving.
Let's do that. Let's try this dual stream. It'll be awesome if we can get it going. In the meantime, I don't know. I'll just talk a lot of old cock.
Okay, transfer. I think I'm almost there. So fit to screen. Beautiful. That's back to normal. OBG. Let's get the wallpaper up. Almost there. Brick wall 2. And beautiful. That one's in place. Let's see if Zoom is working. Zoom. Where's the Zoom window? There it is. Let's move it over to here. Beautiful. Resize it.
You are listening to Technical Brilliance here on Daily Chaos in association with OBG.
Still my guitar, gently
Dual show tonight. Dual show. Cedric Edwards and me, Ollie.
I'm OBG, by the way. I'm not Cedric Edwards.
Oh, mate. Oh, I apologise. Am I giving away your cover? OBG.
No, there's no cover, but it's that's what I'm called. That's the name of the show, the OBG show. I am the OBG. But you didn't know that, obviously. But
no, I didn't. I don't even know what it stands for. I wanted to ask you about that. I had some theories.
No one does.
We'll get into that.
Only 2 people do.
You are OBG. OBG.
Okay, so I think I am good to go.
Good. Right. Now,
the only issue is that you're going to appear in a small window up to my left all the time rather than having half the screen.
That's fine, mate. I'm not proud. So how are we going to do this? Do you want to...
okay, cool.
You want to do an intro?
I'm ready to go live. So I'm just firing up Facebook live session. And
good.
Once that comes up, we'll go live at the same time. So I'm just clicking Facebook, live video. It's almost ready to go. Just got to quickly type in the title.
Nice, mate. When you like, when you're ready, tell me, and we'll have to work out how we're going to do this in terms of intros.
I'm 1 minute away.
That's fine. That's no one. That's good. That's all good. It's all good.
Well, for the intro, what we can do is say, right, let's go live. 3, 2, 1. Mute me on your show.
Yes,
and,
exactly. There you
do like a 30-second intro. If you can time it roughly around 30 seconds, I'll do the same on this end and say, hi, welcome to the show tonight. I've got Olly Connelly. We're going to be talking about travel, blah, blah, blah. 30 seconds, and then I'll bring you in.
OBG, you are far too logical for me. Thank you. You're perfect. I like that.
Okay, so I've got OBG live.
Tell me when.
Yep. 30 seconds away.
So Dave Fergie.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Right.
Almost. Start streaming. I'm streaming. And
Streaming.
see, the issue, what we're going to have to clear is the music. Hello? Olly?
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, because I play an intro
issue.
normally, but you're playing,
Yeah.
when you're going to play an intro, I take it.
Yeah, no, so do I. So how do we do that? I'll tell you what. Why don't we just do your intro?
You mute me, and I can mute you, and you can mute me.
And if we do that, we wouldn't be able to hear each other's music anyway, would we?
No, absolutely. I forgot for a moment. So what we do is you mute each other, do an intro, whatever, and around about 30 seconds.
Yeah, good. That's great, mate.
How long
That's
is your
terrific.
intro? How long is your intro?
About a minute. Yeah, give or take.
Well, let's do 1 minute.
Good, brilliant. All right.
Let's do a minute and a half, so we're clear. We'll say go. We'll both hit our intros. My intro lasts about 50 seconds anyway, the long one. So I'll play the long one. Then I'll introduce how I'm going to be on tonight with Olly. He's just getting ready, doing his stuff. Once a minute and a half's gone, we know that we can unmute each other, and we're likely going to be talking rather than music crossing over each other.
Right. Brilliant.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. It makes more sense than Boris bloody Johnson did today, I tell you that. Right. Good.
Right, okay, look, I'm not sure what's going to happen. What I'm going to do is, you do what you do, I do. I'm just going to go on live now. I'm going live right now. I'm going to say you're coming in. You can do your intro, and my viewers are going to see your intro too. And then we've got no issues about waiting and timing and counting. I'm going live right now.
Right. Oh, blimey. Good. Excellent. God bless you, mate. Right. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Oh no. Oh, Struth. Where's the thing? I need the where's the audio mixer gone? Oh, mate, give me the bloody audio. Oh, guess what? I've got a cold. Or maybe, I don't know, it's China virus. Hey folks, good evening, good people, God bless you, etc. Oh yeah, there you go. Ordo ruddy, chao. Know what I mean? Welcome to the Daily Chaos. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. Full of cold. Full of cold. And a little bit running a bit late because you know what? We're doing a dual show tonight. It's the first time. 500 odd shows I've done with the Daily Breaks and Daily Chaos. I'm doing a dual show for the first time tonight with OBG, the OBG show. Yeah. So anyway, yes. Yeah, there you go. We are both bloody foreigners. We're going to be talking about what it means to be a guest in a host culture. Okay, let's just get into this. That's enough of that, and let's just see what happens. Right, okay. OBG, good evening, sir. Can you hear me? He's still doing his intro, isn't he? I bet he's still doing his intro.
Hello. Yeah, hello.
OBG. Hello, mate. How are
I've been talking away on mute, but I thought you had the power to unmute me. Never mind. So, tonight I'll be talking with Olly.
Go on.
Olly, do me a favour. This is a technical thing. I'm going to count up to 3. As soon as I've said the number 3, you say yes. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And again, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
We've got a delay there. It's about just over a second. So
Okay.
when we finish
really?
our pieces, we have to just pause a little.
Okay.
So yeah, Olly, we're doing a dual show, as you said. If you can say that again for the viewers, please explain what that's about.
We are. I don't know what it's about, really. I've got no idea. I don't know what my name is or where I live. But I'm full of cold and feel absolutely disastrous. And the only reason I'm able to do this show tonight is because of the old vino. Do you know what I mean? But yes, it's lovely. I'm really, really grateful to Dave Witcher, who put us in touch. God bless him, former lead dragon, all that stuff. And so this is a dual stream. We're going to do something or other. We only discussed this yesterday, but just like, well, why not? Because you've got the OBG show. So I want to see the stream OBG2, and you can, people, if you go to, if you're watching Daily Chaos, you should be watching the OBG2 and see, let's get these folks, these commenters together. Yeah, let's unite people. And so anyway,
Well, it doesn't matter where they
spiel-
come in, to be honest. If they're watching your show, they're going to see me on a window, and if people are watching my show, they're going to see you appear in a window. The only thing is I'm appearing twice. Oh, never mind.
hold on.
It's the way
You're
it's
not
worked out tonight. It's just the way it's worked out. And I couldn't do a split screen. Let me try that now. Let's see what happens. And we're just going to have to go with it. We had some teething problems, everybody. Yeah, it's horrible. It's ugly. So we're going to have to do it like this. It's about the
tell you what,
content
though.
anyway.
What we're doing, OBG, is really cool. This is great because we are able potentially to create a bit of awareness to two communities, and that's really, really good. We should do more of this. We should be not just dual but quad streaming. You know,
Yeah,
Anyway.
absolutely. Where there's a will, there's a way. A bit of a peer-to-peer streaming network. Maybe we can develop something
Yeah.
like an idea around that and get Dave's show on at the same time.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
What
absolutely. That's the power of Zoom. And Zoom have been very lucky. I think they're rubbing their hands in glee because of the lockdown,
Yeah.
to be honest.
right.
Quarantena, as we call it, a rare quarantine. Because Zoom, they increase their bloody value by a hell of a lot. Because I think it's the number one communications app, lockdown app.
Yeah, you're right. They've done very, very well at spying on us all. Incredible. OBG.
Who knows?
Well, apparently so. They've had to apologise for it and stuff. Look, what does OBG stand for?
No one knows. Only me and one young guy online, a young friend of mine. He asked me with such honesty and earnest, and I just told him. I just blurted it out, and it's meant to be a secret. It's only me and him know. So I'm going to reveal it at some point in the future. But that's the secret source behind the show. That's what drives
right.
it. Holding on to
Fair
that
enough.
secret at the moment.
Fair enough. But you are, to all intents
What
and
does
purposes,
Daily Chaos stand for?
Ordo ab chao.
Sorry, go ahead.
Ordo ab chao. It's the times in which we live, the times in which we've lived for a long time, actually. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is, isn't it? It's order out of chaos. That's what they're trying to do with this new world order. And it's all on record. They've been talking about it for decades. All the main leaders, just the fact that the media doesn't talk about it, that is nonetheless what they are trying to do. And they've been honest about it as well. It's just not in the press. But that is what they want. And we are seeing at the moment, we are at the pinnacle of chaos, almost, unless we do end up in a civil war next year, which is distinctly possible in the States, then that's what we're seeing. And they want, basically, like Henry Kissinger said years and years ago, off the back of the Rodney King riots in LA, one day we will have created the situation where people will be begging for martial law and for troops on the streets to restore order. And unfortunately, and Boris actually said today, didn't he? He said today, OBG, that they want they're going to be militarizing the response to COVID, if need be, to uphold this, what is effectively soft, if not just not even soft anymore, martial law.
Well, we all saw it coming. It's coming sooner than we expected. As you said, America's likely heading towards a civil war. That's been planned as well. And I think they're going to try and kick that off with the race war. Which everyone's favourite criminal, Charlie Manson, used to talk about. They're going to paint him as some bloody hero now and say, oh, he was right. Remember what he said. And also, things aren't that bad. I keep calling it Euro panic. If I explain briefly, I've been to countries around the world and they've got nothing at all. They are in chaos, you know, and they survive because they have to. When you're hungry, then you get inventive, you get creative, and you work. And we're Europeans, we're English. It's like sort of, if the bus is late, we write a letter to the bus company and then we publish it in the Daily Mirror, you know, or the, you know, rags, those, or the Sun, how buses are running
First
late
world
on the,
problems.
you know, like Islington, in the Islington area. And we're talking about chaos. And now there's a tiny bit of an upset, you know, but on a global scale, and everyone's panicking. It's like nothing's changed for probably 80% of the world. And I understand, I'm not trying to say ignore it because, you know, we've not suffered before, but we have to be a little bit more rational about it, I believe, and start asking ourselves, what are we going to do about it rather than simply describing what's going on?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, let's come back to that because there's been so much talked about it. And first of all, I want to personally, if you don't mind, I want to find out what to you it means to be a migrant. I want to ask you about, all sorts of stuff. But we are both migrants. Or are we expats? What's the difference? I'm
expats.
Still...
We're English,
well,
expats.
On,
yeah, we're not migrants or immigrants, ever.
Well, that's right.
Well, in answer to your question, I have the
word.
same question for you, Ollie, actually.
Well, you know, I'm not an expat. I know that because I remain patriotic. I find that expat word really peculiar. I am a migrant. I mean, literally, I have migrated to, you know, where I came to live for whatever reason. In my case, my missus is from here. Fell in love with a foreign bird, a bloody foreigner. And so went to live round at her place, and I love it. But I also love my home country and my culture of origin more than anything, because it's ingrained in my everything. And I feel over here, I'm a guest. A very grateful guest, but nonetheless, I feel I'm a guest and that I have responsibilities as a guest as opposed to sort of coming in and taking over sort of thing, which seems to be the case largely, the sort of problem that we have in the UK. I don't know. I don't think that there's a genuine debate about what it means to be a migrant and the difference between coming in as an adult into a new country, like you and I did, OBG, or being born in a country. No? There's a disparity there, no?
Oh, there definitely is. It's got its benefits. It's got its advantages, disadvantages, its loves and likes. I'm sure you feel the same way, but I'll ask you about that in a moment. First of all, as a migrant, yes, I know what I am and what I'm doing, but I don't really feel it. I've always been kind of a free spirit. And when I go to another country, as the people who know me very well know, I kind of just say, well, no, it's just the planet Earth, basically, but I'm living on this part of it now. And I have to abide by the new rules, obviously. But as you mentioned about being a guest, I kind of feel in part that I'm a guest. And at the same time, I'm like, no, it's just my right to live here. And because we have to be fair to each other and treat each other as equal as human beings, I should be allowed to come here and do as I will, observe the local rules, obviously, and some of the customs, but I needn't come over and always be grateful for being here, because I should be accepted like any other migrant in any part of the world. And also, I'm a kind of double migrant in a way, because I'm a migrant here and I'm a son of a migrant in the UK, and I kind of had semi-migrant status in the way that I was viewed and treated. So I think me going to other countries in the world, and I've been to many, I never truly feel that it's a first time experience, because I was raised in a sense, as I said, as a kind of semi-migrant right from the start. And what about yourself? Regarding being a guest, what kind of feelings does that create in you? What do you feel about that?
Well, you, OBG, it sounds as though you're more of a kind of a globalist type mentality to me. I'm more about keep it local, and I'm not saying that migration. I mean, what a hypocrite I'd be. I'm not saying that it's not a good thing. Mix it up and all that stuff. I think it is, but my concern that we see these days is that it's also politicized, and it's not about sort of a natural progression, if you like. It's a forced demographic engineering, which was discussed by.
I go with you on that as well. Totally.
I'm worried about that. I mean, I think that,
I agree.
for example,
I understand that.
Well, instead of, I mean, we talk a lot about people let them go where they want and all the rest of it, and I understand that there are arguments to support that. I do understand that, but on the other hand, I would say the real debate that we should be having is, why do these people feel the need to migrate? It's because we're bombing them out of their cultures, ruining, devastating their wonderful places, their cultures and all the rest of it, and then they're desperate. Guess what? And as a result, we're upsetting, if you like, the natural progression, the organics of the entire planet.
Well, we have to stop equating migration with people coming from bombed countries. The English do a fantastic job of migrating to other countries and not taking part in cultures and so on. And that's often admitted in these conversations. Migrants isn't about people leaving bombed countries at all. It's about people. I thought we were maybe going to talk about people just wanting to live in other countries. Now, you said that I come across as a globalist on my ideas, but no, I'm a local guy as well. I believe in local and community. It's a very, very strong part of me. And, people who know me well and the people who've been watching me on the show know that I'm a community guy as well. So when I go abroad, even as I was talking today to someone on the phone, Lorraine, I said, my plan with OBG is to start pulling money in for the show and then to build a centre here for the homeless people in my town and surrounding towns. So it's not about it being a globalist. I just wanted to go anywhere. I'm a community person. So I've come to a new country and I want to take part in that country and do what I've done in my country of origin.
I hear that.
So the globalist idea for me, it's not, it's
No, go on. The globalist idea for you is not what?
No, go ahead. You said, but tell me.
Well,
it's gone.
Tell me then, because the thing I'm wary of is coming into a host culture, and it is a host culture because there's people that are pre-existing in their lives and their entire cultures in this place, and somehow saying, you know what, I don't like that bit of how you're living, so I'm going to change it, and we're going to do this and that. And I'll give you an example. There was the Sadiq Khan in London sat down with the assembly members in London, the London mayor in City Hall the other day, and Peter Whittle, who used to be a UKIP chap, and he said, "Look, I'm very worried that Sadiq Khan and your new historical investigations department or what have you committee are going to devastate our ancient British culture because you decide that you don't like that statue of, I don't know, Admiral Nelson on his plinth or whatever, and you want to pull it down and shove up a statue of somebody that identifies
someone else
as a hedgehog or something, and it's just we've gone all so politically woke and crazy and all the rest of it. It seems to be politicized into confusing and dividing and ruling us, as opposed to saying, actually, you know what, we've got hundreds of years. Most people in this area, the UK or Spain or wherever it is, have been there for a long, long, long time, and all of a sudden they're having their heritage devastated, for example, by people that are relative newcomers to the area. Now, I hear what you say. about,
It's not
for
the
example,
people.
the Brits.
It's not the people. I think
OBG,
what you said
OBG,
earlier on, and many people
OBG,
say,
OBG. Just let me finish very briefly, because I do need to put a clause in, because I sound like a hypocrite at the moment. I do understand that the Brits did wage about, all this empire stuff and mess around a lot of people and all the rest of it, but that wasn't us that did that. These people today. That's a historical thing. People that probably we weren't even related to.
You're sounding like Tommy Robinson at the moment, to be honest.
Go on.
I think
Your turn.
Look, on one hand, you're saying that they're trying to create this new world order, and that there's some people behind
on
it.
record.
And on the same voice, you're blaming the people who are coming into the country for making or wanting these changes.
I'm not.
Those people
I'm
may
not
have
blaming
a voice,
them.
and they
I'm not blaming
this is
them.
why it's coming across to me. I'm just saying that you're coming across then. You can defend that afterwards. And now, on the other hand, you're saying these people, and they want to upset different cultures. Those people don't have any power. You don't just go to a new country and say, take down a statue of Churchill, and people take heed, and they do that. That has to come from a much higher level. So on one hand, the very people you're saying who are forcing this control, they're the people behind it. It's not the person who's just come over, like on a boat on the channel.
I agree.
It's
with
the
you.
people
I
at
agree
the
with
much
you.
higher levels. So I think we have to have an understanding that it comes from higher above, and we have to stop discussing, stop talking and blaming. I'm not saying you're blaming the people who come over, because they have no power to change a culture. The only way cultures have been changed is by conquest, and the British are very good at that.
They have been, traditionally.
People aren't coming over to England on a boat with their children and losing one child by drowning and then going like, right, we're here now. We're very powerful people. Let's take down a statue. That's a good idea. And then the British all go, whoa, they're going to take down the statue and it's going to interrupt my way of life. It's like, it doesn't happen. It's not down to those people.
It's not the people that are coming in that are doing that. It's the politicians who actually are not patriotic that are doing that. So, for example, in the case of Sadiq
That's
Khan,
where we've got to fight them. That's where we've got to fight them. People are saying the country's changing. It's immigrants. It's not. You're being sold out by the very people that you put your trust and confidence in. Those are the people. They're in cohorts with leaders in all the other countries. They have meetings. They say, how are you running your country? We're doing this with our people. They discuss what they're doing with their people. I'm putting this in pure basic terms. And then they start implementing plans. Oh, this is working over in, Bulgaria. Let's do the same here. And they talk with heads of state and so on. And they start implementing these new things. And they talk with the technocrats and the industrialists. And that's where it all happens. I've wanted change in England since I was a very small boy, and I've not seen much change in many things. And now suddenly, boom, as you said, all this identity politics and the politics getting involved in, in the migration and so on. That's why they're being expedient at the moment, because the people with power not want the change, but they're making the change, as you said earlier, to create some kind of chaos, and then they can come in and provide a solution. And they're doing it very well right now. So as much as I said earlier, it's a bit of Euro panic. It's the same old thing. They're going to implement changes. I done a show on Sunday. If you go in and look at the end of that show, at the last third, I talk about the Great Reset, which they talked about at the World Economic Forum. I went into some detail on what it's about, the fourth industrial revolution, 4IR, or 4.0 as they're calling it, treating us as commodities. We're no longer human beings that are naturally evolving. We're a product, and we're reaching stage 4.0 of human evolution. So we have to start discussing those things rather than us peons who are fighting amongst ourselves as to what's right and wrong in our cities and towns and so on. It comes from high above. We've got to chop their heads off, chop the head off the beast, basically.
You see, I don't disagree with any of that. I don't understand why that makes me... when you said I sounded like Tommy Robinson, you kind of suggested or insinuated that was somehow a bad thing. But then everything you said
it's not about you
that,
personally.
No. Let me finish.
This way, Ollie. Your words.
Well, let me finish. Well, my words are me. I choose them. The two things. First of all, everything you said after that, I agree with anyway. And I'm not blaming the migrants. I'm blaming the fact that people are being used the world over, in all countries. And in terms of Tommy Robinson, I just asked you a question. What actually has Tommy Robinson said, as an aside, that was ever wrong?
Say that again. Sorry, you lost me.
Well, tell
Just
me.
on the Tommy Robinson bit, the last question.
I'm just curious. I'm curious. What has Tommy Robinson ever said that was ever wrong?
I don't know. I don't listen to him at all. I've seen some little snippets here and there, and I think to myself, okay, maybe he said it or not. It's in the gutter press, or somebody's reported that it was in the gutter press, and so on. And I work sometimes with metadata. If someone's been saying many bad things, I'll hear one or two things bad they've said, and I've decided the general consensus about that person, maybe look for some basic stuff and think this person's not really a good person and they've said some bad shit, and that's all I'm left with. I don't want to see a picture of the guy. I don't want to listen to what he has to say neither. And
but
I don't think I'm wrong.
Is that because to be honest with you, a few years ago, I would have said, well, I may have been tempted to say the same sort of thing, like that basically, that guy is a bad one or something. But then I listened to some of his speeches, and I have to say, all he's ever done is try and protect young girls from getting gang raped and stuff like that, and covering stories
by
that
English
wouldn't
people
be covered,
or only by foreign people, by the very few.
By both actually,
raping little girls.
By both. I mean, he is concerned.
He's been very quiet about some of the members of his party who were raping little girls. You never mentioned it at all. And he's talking about people external to that.
Which party?
There were several members of his party with that being up on paedophile charges. I believe that. I don't think those were made up stories. They was, they were in the press, and he didn't mention that. But he's talking about people external. It's like, listen, mate, clean your house out. Do you know what I mean? And then start working and start talking about the external stuff. It's bad in all cases.
The reason I say what I say, and by the way, he's not a member of any party, and also he'd left the EDL when there were more violent contingent moved in or what have you. He left. The only reason I say this, and the only reason I asked you that question, and then you said, I've never really listened to anything that you said, is because my main concern, actually, today, bigger than anything else, bigger than the politicians and the corruption and the deceit, the malfeasance, is the lack of diligent journalism from the mainstream media. That's the biggest concern. And what that does,
without a doubt,
is it breeds, ignorance, frankly. I mean, we are all of us, ignorant about most things because we can only have a certain capacity to take things in and what have you. That's normal. We're all ignorant about most things. There's no slur. But when the mainstream media is complicit in, it's not so much what they say, it's what they leave out. About people that they like that go along with the globalist line, for example, that are moving towards Agenda 2030 and stuff like that, the kind of things that you were talking about a minute ago, OBG. They're very happy with. You've got as much of a platform as you want. So even people like Tony Blair, and by the way, talk about British conquerors. Well, I mean, personally, I think that guy should have decomposed years ago, off the back of a fair trial. As a war criminal. Same with people like Ali Campbell, who's now on Twitter telling us how wonderful Keir Starmer is, who again covered up people like Jimmy Savile, another rape and pedo type character. Instead of the media caught all this, and people that call it out, people like Tommy Robinson, for example, and I only mentioned him because you did, by the way, is that they are castigated. They're smeared. There's no, when they defend their daughter who was just touched up by some bloke in a swimming pool and maybe gives him a smack or something, they talk about him giving a smack and never say that he was protecting his kid. That mainstream media, to me, the fourth estate, the people that are supposed to protect us from lies and deceit and give us the truth. And an honest level playing field, hopefully, for all people across the world. Meritocracy type stuff. To me, you tell me, OBG, to me, that is the biggest tragedy of our time. The fact that we don't have an honest press.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. That's been going for the longest time. That's what the press is for. The press haven't been honest for the longest time. In fact, the only person I ever really listened to in the press, and that was when I was a reader of the rags, the Daily Mirror, was John Pilger, and I think he's maintained his stance ever since. There are other people, names escape me right now, but that's the main person for me. And the press has been compromised, for the longest time. It's always been like a mouthpiece for the wealthy, and I don't think there's any difference. I think we've got more access to news now on different channels, with the internet, so it seems like we're being attacked with this affront of bad news, but it's always been there, even when we only had two newspapers. And I'm talking about working class there. We had the Sun and the Daily Mirror, and then you went up to the Telegraph and the Mail and the Express and so on, and it's definitely a class thing there. And they always done the same thing. I didn't realise, because I used to read them, and you turn over, here's a funny story. There's a woman with her breasts out on page 3. How civil.
Yeah.
And,
it's mad.
I grew out of it. And those things have no meaning. It's all about titillation, and if you want a wordplay there. And obviously the stories, they're world news light, depending on the level of newspaper. And even those who call themselves investigative journalists, they're just not doing their job these days. There's hardly anything. Yeah, this is in the mainstream. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of good journalists out there. Many of them, unfortunately, in many countries all over the world, including the good old developed, like Western world, we're putting people into prison for reporting stories, for revealing stories, for whistleblowing and so on. The press is rubbish. We are the press now, and this is our responsibility. Doing your show, doing my show, we have to take some of that responsibility on, because we are being the voice for a lot of people. And I'm not wearing that as a badge of honor or as an accolade or to build myself up. Some people don't have the resources, which is why if I talk about me briefly, I've built a show about the people, by the people, for the people. And I expect people to feed me what's going on from all over the world. Then I can I'm a reductionist, very good at working with tons of data, and boom, and coming out with a story, and then I can make a story around that, rather than turning the telly on, watching BBC and saying this is what's happening in the world today.
OBG, I completely hear that. I've taken a bit of slack today from only two people, but nonetheless, out of a lot of people, but only two. For bringing you on, because they looked at your profile and they said he supports BLM, and I want to ask you about that. But my riposte to that was all the more reason to interview this guy, to have a chat with this guy, for him to interview me, for us to have. I loved your word when we spoke yesterday, chatterview. It's what it is. It's really nice. I'm going to nick that, sir. We need to try to listen across the aisle, and then we can criticize with authority. I want to understand a few things from you, and I want you to know that personally, I'm somebody that can disagree with somebody and yet still retain some respect for them, which is something that we don't have. I retain
full respect for people the same way. Well, I just don't like
we need that,
people like Tommy Robinson I mentioned earlier, because he's a racist thug. But yeah, I don't mind a fallout with people. If I met him, I'd probably talk to him, want to see what he's about. What are you about, mate? What's going on? As long as he doesn't try to use violence.
Look, you said to me, OBG, that you'd never actually listened to much, bar a couple of snippets, which were probably the most nasty things or what have you that he'd said, that were chosen by the mainstream media, as opposed to taking an entire speech, for example, or reading one of his books or something like that, and having a rounded understanding. Because if you took my stuff, for example, you could pull out stuff where I don't know, got off the handle or something, and you could twist it and edit it, and you could do that with anybody. Look at what they're doing with...
Yeah, but you can also read anybody's tome and agree with them at the same time, but sometimes we don't want to. Hugo Chavez, Ortega, whatever, they're bad people. I've heard bad stuff about them. They've said some bad things. I'm not going to try and learn about their lives and read their books and try and get a balanced view of them. And I feel the same about racist
How
thugs,
do you know?
even if they
How do you know?
have a good idea?
How do you know that these
Even
people
if they
are
have a
what
good
you're
idea,
being
I won't take it
told?
on.
You've admitted that the mainstream media is a crock of crap. How do you know that what they say about the likes
Because I'm connected.
of,
I know people. I know people who live in the area he lived in. People who grew up. People who say, "Oh yeah, we know him. He's always been like that." Blah blah blah. I don't just base it on the mainstream media. And I play safe sometimes. And I have a very, I have a bias, which I talked about in the show. We all have an inherent bias. We just don't have to like some stuff.
I agree.
And it's our choice. It's good to be good, and it's nice to be nice to people. But sometimes you just don't take the chance. If you hear that someone's a bad person enough times, and you've heard a few snippets of them, and you think to yourself, you know what, I'm not even going to bother to stop down at this point in my life and read this person's book when I could just spend a couple of hours helping in my community instead. And this person may be a good person, but I'm just not willing to put any time into them, or any more time, because I don't totally ignore him, and I don't just only listen to the snippets. It goes deeper than that, truly. And I treat life like that. I can't take everything in. There's some stuff I know, there's some stuff I take on faith, and there's some stuff I believe in because maybe I'm stupid, and some stuff just fools me and gets in. But I want to be a rounded person too. So if everyone tells me I have to read every racist's book to get a rounded view of them, I'm not saying that. No,
you don't have to read any of them.
Going to, and they don't have
if you're going to call them,
and going back to Black Lives Matter, by the way. Sorry,
no. OBG. Hold on that point. On that point, before we get into BLM, because that's such a big subject in itself. Before you call somebody a racist, before you brand them something, it doesn't matter what it is. We talk about racism a lot. Personally, I think we should talk a lot more about prejudice. Because if you look at that, the debate is, whoa, there's a whole different angle there. But if you're going to basically call somebody some kind of a bad person, and you haven't actually read or watched a speech, you haven't got any credibility.
Absolutely, I can live with that. I think Ortega is a bad man, and I've not read his book, and I've not heard much about him. Just that he's not a very good president, and he's messing people up. Same with, many other leaders or so-called leaders of countries. And I'm happy to live that way. I can go through my life and I'll tell my children that person was a bad person. I can live with that. That's the way it works. And
I know it's difficult.
And now in a perfect world, I'd read about all of the people who are supposedly bad, and then say to my children, actually, I've read all of the books about Ortega, and I've read his biography, and I've done a lot of study on him. I've spent some part of my life, and actually he's not as bad as people say he is. I don't want to do that. I haven't got time for that. It would be a perfect world if we did. But
why can us human beings not just accept our frailties and say, I don't know?
Well, that's what I mean. I say that often. It's even part of my show every week. I say, you can ask me anything. And if I don't know, I'll try to answer it. But if I don't know, I'll say I don't know. That's the way I live my life, you see. And if, for instance, I'm saying that I don't trust or like Tommy Robinson, and rather than you going, okay, fair enough, it's like, nothing that's not out of aggression or having a go at you, rather than you going, okay, fair enough, and then moving on.
You're not having a go at me.
Subject. That's
You're not having a go at me.
Maybe I should read some more. Maybe I should read some more about him. Maybe I should get a more balanced view. And it's like, just accept that.
Me too.
What I think about this person. And once again, the world can move on. I don't hate anybody. I don't even hate him.
I sound like,
as I said, if I saw him, I'd go, what's that all about? And then I'd get it from the horse's mouth, and maybe I would have a better understanding. But I don't have that.
And we all would. How many times in our lives? When we talked yesterday, you were telling me how you'd walk down the street in Spain and you'd see these blokes who are like, I don't know, look like a couple of bloody great big, lads or whatever. And you sort of walk across the other side of the street sort of thing. But when you actually get next to them, they're playing the guitar and they're going, hola tío. And they're lovely blokes. And this, I remember there was
that story. I didn't walk on the other side of the street, and I don't, because I'm a danger. I love danger. What I said is, you see these guys, they look like geezers. They had like the vests on. It was summer, and I thought to myself, maybe I'll cross the other side of the street. I thought, no, let me walk past them. I definitely said that yesterday, and see what this is all about. And I walk past them, like, hey, ¿qué pasa, hombre? Ven aquí, ¿quieres una cerveza? And they call me over and offer me
Want a beer,
and
mate?
they're playing flamenco on a guitar, 2:00 in the morning this was. And I just thought to myself, wow. And I love that about Spain, it's
And they're
laid
good
back
people.
like that. And, the men are quite gentle over here. In the
And
moment,
that's the point, isn't it? Is that there is a big difference between perception and reality very often. And the media, this is really coming back to this fake stream media business. Yeah, that is, in my opinion, it is divide ruling us when we should be far closer, friends, loving each other, mutually respectful of our communities and so on, and our families and so on and so forth. Instead of which, we've got so much division and people saying, I don't like that bloke, for example, when I don't even know anything about that bloke, as opposed to saying, well, I don't know anything about that bloke, so how can I comment? But people are saying,
I'm hearing you more and more. I'm hearing you more and more.
Hey?
And as I said, that's the way it works, and it has been. I don't even look at the mainstream media. As I said, obviously, I get bits from it, typically from Facebook, to be honest. That's a source. It pops up, and my friends are talking about it. And maybe like yourself, you've got some friends who you really trust, when I say trust, you trust your friends, but with a story. So if a friend says to me, oh, that person, and they say something about a person, basically that's what I believe now. I don't accept things easily, but I've got a couple of friends like that. If they just said to me, oh yeah, flamingos are pink because they eat refreshers, I'm like, flamingos are pink
because they eat prawns, actually.
And that's part, that's part of me now. But I'm a pedant. I'm just that way. I'm very critical of everything. I'm untrusting of news stories, even one-on-one. People who know me face to face, as soon as you say to me, like, oh yeah, did you know like so and so? I'm going, how do you know? And I'm like, listen, I need to know where you got this information from, because information, it's like the I don't know if it's a politically correct term anymore, but that whispers game that people play. You start off with a phrase, and by the time it gets to even the fifth person,
Chinese whispers
changed.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of this. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
and I'm very aware of this. So but I'd still partake in it, because I'm trying to be a good person, but I'm not trying to be a perfect person. So for all my flaws, which people want to point out, I'm like, fair enough. And people say, oh, what, you're getting defensive? So I'm not being defensive. You challenged me or said something to me, and I'm speaking my piece now. But suddenly you're saying I'm being defensive. And even if I was being defensive, so what? I get defensive sometimes. And that's the way the world rolls. But I have to get back to one point. You said, some people are concerned about me coming on the show and saying I support Black Lives Matter.
Only two.
Once again, it's like...
Yes.
No, it's fine. That's enough. But you took on board what they said is true, and it's like, did you ask them where they got the sources from? Because
I said to them when they said that, I said all the better, because it will make an interesting, conversation. But please, sorry, I interrupted you. Please.
But there's never at any point, I don't think, in any record of me saying that I support Black Lives Matter on Facebook.
Oh, right. Oh, man. In that case, maybe they
would have got
idiots.
any information like that from. I talk about this, like Marxist, like founded like organizations and so on, and I know where my heart lies. What I have said, if anything, in the main, is I don't care what system starts up. If there's benefits that come off of it, little satellite projects that happen, then I'm happy with that. And if there's been police reform in the United States, and people have resigned from their jobs, and people have lost their jobs, and they're starting to be serious about investigating crimes where young black men are shot and so on, then I'm all up for that. I think it's good. And I always talk about the roll-on effects that it's had, but itself and the movement, there's not a place in the world that exists where I've said I support it. So once again, everyone has bias, and I don't mind that. But because I'm not trying to paint a picture of who I am or to defend and say to people, no, this is what I mean. This is who I am. I talk a lot. I say a lot of things, and sometimes garbage comes out. Sometimes I'm misunderstood. And that's the way it is. Yeah. If somebody wants to know me better, they need to ask me a question and say, do you support Black Lives Matter? Which you haven't even asked me. You've heard it third hand already. And you're kind of alluding to the idea that I do. So you have to communicate.
Well, I wanted to ask you about it.
Stress, and it's obvious. Go back to my first and early shows. Is ask questions. I've been trying to ask you questions tonight, and we haven't had any answers yet. And I feel that I'm being interviewed, maybe for
OBG,
your audience,
I'm sorry.
And I think you're working very hard at that. This is a feeling I'm getting. So
I'm sorry.
I've asked you question after question, and I've had no response from you. So So I think let's get back into chatting. We were meant to be talking about living abroad, and suddenly it talks about immigrants coming over on boats, which is why I mentioned you sounding like Tommy Robinson as a point of saying, hold on a minute, who are you? In truth, why have you got me to do this interview with you? Why are we talking about immigration? Why are we talking about immigrants? Why are we talking about rape and immigrants and rape? And we're meant to be talking about living abroad, and we haven't even got onto that subject yet.
Well,
so
it was going to be an
where
organic
is this going?
Chat. It was going to be
It's
organic.
a great conversation. I
right.
love it. And it turns out that we're talking about something else, but we could do that another day, another time. We had a plan for tonight's show. I put it up in the description of the show for people. I said we're coming on tonight, and you put it in yours. And for some reason, we're talking about rapey immigrants. And
only went that way.
Down that route
only
today.
went that way. Only went that way off the back of your, comparing me to Tommy Robinson, OBG. But mate, what? Sorry, what?
Not comparing you. Words. I think it's important to understand. I don't define you by what you say. I challenge what you said. So if I say, oh Christ, I just saw an ugly woman on the train, then that's just my words. And you say to me, what did she look like? Why would you call her ugly? And we deal with that sentence. But if you say that I think women are ugly, then you're wrong. And I don't think you're a racist. I don't think you're a Tommy Robinson's, supporter, even though you come across like one very strongly tonight.
Well, actually,
but it's just about challenging your words and what you said, and then you have a chance to. No, I'm saying I don't think you are, but I'm saying it's about the words you use, how they affect me.
I do like Tommy Robinson
accordingly,
but that doesn't make me a racist either.
That's it. But no one said you was. I even said you wasn't. But now you're defending it and saying that doesn't make me one. So what's your agenda?
I'll tell you what. You know what? We are so, if you like, confused, I think, between our various communities. We so, this is wonderful. I'm so grateful to you, OBG. I want to do this again. I want to do shows like this with you where we can just be completely honest with each other and try and create some common ground here, because in our communities, I mean, this, it just seems to me, look at the whole Brexit thing, for example, and how that's
I know nothing
divided
about it, so you can lead on this. Yep.
No, it's for you to ask me now, sir. You're right. I need to shut up and you ask some questions. It really frustrates the hell out of me that we are so divided when, personally, I believe, irrespective actually of we all have, everybody on this rock, essentially, you then go off into derivatives and what have you, but essentially we have the same values, which is we want to look after our kids and their futures and make sure that we keep the wolf from the door and all the rest of it, and just improve and keep our health and all the rest of it, but we are so successfully divided, ruled, that between us we're like just hitting clubs over each other's heads, when actually, if you really analyse where we're all coming from, we all, pretty much all of us, I'm talking about the people, yeah? I'm not talking about these political puppets to plutocracy or whatever. I'm talking about people. They want the same thing, I think. And we need to understand that with our communities without being used in this plutocratic game.
Absolutely. And who is the wolf at the door? The wolf at the door is government and big business. They just want to keep taking money from everybody. And it's not about money to reinvest back in the system. It's like, all right, let's raise money and let's build this and that. It's about profit and shareholders. We're living in a world that's driven on profit. So they're the wolves at the door. Now, as you know, Dave and Lorraine haven't paid any water ever for the last many years. They don't pay water bills and, whatever, utilities and so on. And I think that's a thumbs up to the system, a thumbs up, finger up to the system, which is really good. But once again, we have to, as people, come together, because, as you said, this divide is manufactured, it's created. And as I said, it's like I have to listen sometimes to the voice when people talk about immigration and so on, or migration, where it's where it's contrived, where it's forced. That doesn't work. You know, it's never a good idea. People migrate naturally, and the numbers, I think, naturally are small enough never ever to cause any problems. You know, some people like it here, so they'll stay. They've been there. They're a tradesman in a new country, a tradesman in a new town or area. People know their face, and eventually they move there and they fit in, and you know, bring their family there, and someone else does. And you know, it's just a game of numbers. It's the way it works. It would iron itself out. But when the government say, right, okay, we've got a plan. Let's just move these people from here and here and here, and then just put them there in new communities. It's not good, because as human beings, as you said, we have some strong cultural ways and so on, and we don't like to see that change. Unfortunately, it changes. People don't even like to see it change when it's a natural progression as well. But when it's forced, it must, really, must feel really, really bad, and I can understand that. But anyway, that's enough of migration from me. If you want to carry on with that, Fred, go ahead.
No, that's all right.
More about
OBG.
Yeah, go.
That's all right.
So
no, please. You want to ask me something? I don't know.
So yeah. Oh, well, I've forgotten. I think I was talking about migrants, not people. It's the people disagreeing with you, really. I thought we was talking about being a migrant. It turns out we're talking about migration in general and how bad it is. And
well,
why,
no, being a migrant is the same thing.
But I don't know what you. Let's go down to mine. You've been living there. I tried to ask you this earlier. Once again, you skipped straight past it. How long have you been living in Spain?
14 years or 15, one of the two. Yeah. 14, 15 years.
And to go back to the question I did ask, how do you feel as a migrant in Spain?
I love it. I'm very happy. I adore Spain. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of stuff, politically, but I wouldn't dream of interfering with it, because I feel, it will be out of order. It's not to say that I don't try to add to things, like as you said. This is my community around here and stuff. But no, I love it. I love the Spanish folks. I love particularly their family values. Something that I think we've really, really lost in the UK. I think we've had it kicked out of us in various different ways. The nuclear family has been trashed. It's been political cynicism again, in my opinion, to destroy a nation.
But wasn't the nuclear family a creation as well?
I don't know. People just wanted to get married and have kids, I think. But they can't really do that very easily now.
Did the system want them to? Was that idea sold to them once again?
Well, they used to, didn't they? And now they don't seem to want them to. They don't seem to want them to.
I don't think they used to neither. Marriage is pretty new, and like tying the bond. It's two corporations joining. It's like, it's all in the interest of taxes and business. People never used to do that. It used to get like common law marriages. You live with someone in the town. We've got this whole idea that people always went to a church, got married, got registered by the state, and the husband, the dad giving the daughter away, which is in fact a director of a company giving away one of his, I forget the term they use there.
I meant union.
He's part of his business.
Union.
The unions have always happened, but without having to fill in tax forms and to inform the government and to have permission and all that sort of stuff. It's very contrived. They've taken the fun out of it, basically, and we lived perfectly well without that. But once again, we had smaller communities then instead of this.
Yeah,
okay,
that's right.
This community doesn't exist anymore now. You're all joined together now under the rule of this king. Okay, now this king's married this woman from this place. So now we're joining these two counties together. Now this is owned by one king, and expand. Okay, you're Great Britain now, and you're owned by one king, ruled by one king. Well, the Scottish won't comply, so we'll have to kick their asses a little bit. And those people in Northern Ireland, they're not listening either. Let's go and fuck their shit up too. And they didn't quite get the hold they wanted to. We saw the conflict in the 70s, and the same in Scotland historically, not many places around the world. And this isn't an anti-British spiel. I'm talking about what I know best. It happens all over the world. As I mentioned very much earlier, it's all about conquest and taking over. Leave us alone. Let us just build our communities. We'll be savage for a while, and then we'll form. It's all about devolution. Let us live here as we wish. Let us live here as we wish. Let's cut the head off the beast. It doesn't mean giving up stuff. It doesn't mean living in fields, which isn't a bad idea. And, living off the land rather than living in fields, we'd still have our houses and so on. But we definitely need to change. We need to take the system out of the hands of the rich, out of the oligarchs, and stop running a system like it's a computer. And we're just the ones and zeros, bits and bytes in this massive computer as the world sees it. And no doubt Bill Gates has had his say in that. Oh, it's like a big computer. It's in the way that guy talks, a flid. We need to vaccinate people. And sorry, I'm going off on one there slightly, but that means a lot to me. And if we cut we'll get back to values. We'll get back, as you said, about the marriage. What was the term you used? Sorry,
union.
It's a union.
Two people that want to
need these true unions.
Have a lot of sex and have kids
and we need to unite. That's what it's about. Unite us. We need to unite too. Have a difference of opinion, have a difference of views, try and agree more. The thing is, what you said earlier about that racist guy, I understand where you're coming from.
He's not racist.
I reacted, which is
he's concerned for his culture.
For his people of his colour. I understand what you mean there.
No,
race, right?
No, he's not. Hold on.
Understandable. Whoa. I don't hate him for it.
Whoa. That is out of order. To say that people...
It's not out of order.
Necessarily are kind of...
I didn't say people. You're trying to tie me like I'm talking about people. I said one person and by name. Let's stick with that.
All right. Okay. Anyway, let's agree to disagree on that, because otherwise we'll go around in circles.
So let me ask you a question then, and this one's a deep, meaningful one, just to lighten things up as well. Chocolate, do you put it in the fridge or not?
Yes, you do. You do in Spain. Yeah, you do in the summer in Spain.
Yes, Claudia Rossi. You were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay,
Claudia
cool.
Rossi.
But I mean, even in the UK, I used to do the same. So, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything different? Anything new? Do we want to get back on point about being a migrant and living abroad?
Yeah. Well, first of all, look, can we just carry on for just 10 minutes? Because you might have noticed, OBG, I woke up with a streaming cold this morning. I was fine yesterday. When we spoke yesterday, I was absolutely fine. But I am absolutely... I don't want to show you some of the things on my desk because they are not attractive.
Are they your handkerchiefs? You had a handkerchief there. Anyway, sorry to take the tone down, but yeah.
They are
to the end of my tether too.
And also... I've got a spit glass here as well, which I haven't had to use during the show, which I'm amazed because it's not.
We're all going to get old, guys. So spit glasses. It may sound a bit like gross to you right now, but you're going to be old like us too. I haven't got a spit glass, but I'm planning on getting one just in case.
Oh mate, oh man.
So Olly, I tell you what, let's wind down. Let's leave on a really positive note, because I think we talked yesterday, and obviously we definitely got a connection beyond what we don't agree with, and I think maybe we've gone in hard and strong to let's see what we're about, and this is likely to be, I think, one of the only things we're going to disagree on, to be honest. Just after yesterday's conversation, I think I know where you're coming from, and you're a journalist. In the past, you've worked for the big companies, including the BBC, and you wanted to eke something out of me tonight, which you did very well, but you're a good man.
I didn't mean to do that. It just
apart from the Tommy Robinson affliction. So let's go out on a positive note. Say something to my viewers and your viewers, something nice and positive about people, about us, and then we'll have a quick phone call afterwards, or maybe tomorrow, and we'll talk about coming on, having another Olly and OBG show lights, where we can talk about something without going at each other.
I'd like to do that, and I don't think it's such a bad thing necessarily to go at each other a bit.
Oh no, I don't mind too. I love it. I'm the king of that. I'm a griper. I'm known for it. And I pull people in. I want to talk about. No, let's deal with this here. But I didn't expect we were going to talk about that. Neither did I. We were going to talk about immigration, the differences, how we felt. I did mention this yesterday as a precursor. We didn't have anything totally planned, but I wrote those in the header because I thought this is what we discussed, and we ended up talking about like all the race stuff, which is a natural progression maybe, but it felt like it was a little bit pushed to me.
Oh, mate, I apologise if I did get
No,
a bit
no
of
need to.
tabloid.
It's the way it is. It's what you've done. If you did do it deliberately, if not, it doesn't
No,
matter.
I
It's
didn't.
what happened.
I
And I
didn't.
think it's a bloody good show. No, let's not apologise to each other. I hate with grown men. It's like, we can cuss each other. We can use swear words on the phone like earlier. We can have swear words when we talk to each other. So let's go out on a positive. Say something nice to the viewers.
Well, mate, I'd very, very gladly, OBG, give you a cuddle and have a pint with you right now, and also have a scuffle linguistically. And my thing, people, my thing, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this show tonight, apart from the fact that I thought it would be an interesting technical feat. Well, the main reason was because old Dave Witcher, who I love to bits, said you should get in touch with this guy, and he's in the same town as me in Valencia. And I thought, well, that's lovely, that's really nice. And I watched the show, and I thought, yeah, this guy's a good bloke. He's a good man. And look, I think it is obvious, is it not, that we all have our frames of reference. I'll tell you somebody who, because I know that I can come across as a bit of a, if you like, an imperialist. I'm not. I just absolutely care passionately about my culture, and I am scared to the marrow of my bones that we are all of our cultures being led down a very dark China control model of totalitarianism if we're not careful. And I just think that we need to cut each other more breaks and, talk. This, to me, OBG, this show, it is positive for as a, if you like, a starting point to be able to build from, but even in itself, for us just to reach out to each other and to try and understand where we're coming from in a broader way, and being honest with each other and understanding, I hope, and as OBG has said, that we're being played. We're being played by these people behind the curtain who I don't really give a stuff about any of us. Doesn't matter what, race, creed, colour or whatever. They don't give a stuff. Whereas I think people I talk to, doing all the shows that I've done and, reading the comments, which I failed so abysmally at doing tonight. I'm sorry, everybody in the comments. I'm sorry. I'm really crap. Is that we have common values which people love, and that is what they're interested in. It's, do these other folks, whatever, do they share my values? That is all actually that they care about. And I think that all of this, the rest of this stuff, whatever your, I don't know, sexual, whatever it is, I don't think people give a stuff. They don't want it rammed down their throat. They just don't want to hear about it. Because what they want to hear is what's coming from another person's heart. And that person either wants to work, cooperate, be happy, love other people in their community, or they don't. And I think that's where we are. I think that is really the issue of our times, OBG, is this difference between regular people just trying to get on with their lives, understanding what on earth is all this confusion about, and then this horrid behind the curtains kind of agenda to rip us all apart and take away our, what we are as much as they possibly can, whatever we are.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. And the same for me, my heart's in the same place. I'm saying, I used the term tonight for the first time. I've said it before in the past, maybe, but pushed it tonight, cutting the head off the beast. We need to move away. We need to pull away. We need to start communicating between ourselves. We don't have any good leaders. And I've been a bit apathetic. And like many people, I believe as well, let's drag everyone down with me. We have put so much faith and trust in our leaders. And I just don't think that they're doing a good job. Our interests, not in their best interest, and we need to start discussing ways to resolve these issues. For instance, if we had a goal, you and I tonight, for instance, we could have talked about reaching that goal instead of just trying to fight about our differences. Not fight, but just discuss our differences. And it's all good. I know, I understand that. But what I mean is, let's start working towards solutions. Let's start putting forward ideas about how we're going to go about this. Are we going to do it lawfully? Are we going to start having to write the letters, the very lawful letters, not the legal stuff? Are we going to just keep on protesting, because that's going to end up in a big fight? Already the police came out with batons on Saturday to peaceful protests that have been given orders, and we have to decide how we're going to do this. So what I suggest is that you, I, Dave, and maybe if we find one person each, the three of us, we can get 6 people in and have a debate with that in mind about some of the possible solutions as we see, as crazy as they may seem, to us moving forwards. And hopefully if we come out with a gem or some gems in there somewhere, let's start talking about actually taking action on that. Oh, there are groups that exist who do take action. Maybe we can approach one of them and say, listen, we've got this fantastic idea. Can you do something with this? Because we need to make change. Otherwise, all we're doing is discussing and talking about it. And it all has its place, but I think it's time for action. It really is time for action.
I agree with you.
And we're all good people. We all want the best in life, not the best. We want better. We want good things in life, as you said earlier on. We do want peace. We do want to live with each other. And instead, we're being torn apart and fragmented, something I talked about in the show recently, and it's leading to nowhere. All we're going to see is a big change. And on that note, tune into the OBG show on Sunday, where I'm doing part 2 of The Great Reset. Go to my Sunday show, which you'll find on the OBG show page and the OBG show group on Facebook, and go to the back third. In fact, watch the whole show and you'll see the first section I talked about, the Great Reset. And I think that is the plan they have for us. And we even need to try and thwart it, or let's make a plan about how we're going to deal with it once they do implement it. On that note, I'm done for the evening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in. Also, Olly's viewers tonight. I am the OBG.
OBG, God bless you, mate. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to meet you now. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And there you go. That's it. I would tell you when the next Daily Chaos is, but I don't bloody know. I'm changing the format. Tonight was kind of a one-off because old Witchy said have a chat with this guy, and you know what? I want to do that. If you're still listening, OBG, I want to do that. That forum about what we actually do. Yes, please. Count me in. I've got some ideas. Actually, the main one is called Lobby for Democracy. But yeah, right. So look, if you're going down Trafalgar Square in London, or wherever it is in London, on Saturday to protest for our liberty, then God bless you. Thank you from me, who can't get there. If anybody wants to do an interview with me about that, about going down there, give us a shout. Send me an email, olly@dailychaos.news, and we'll do an interview and I'll try and get it out there. Whether it's before or after or whenever, I mean, we've got this. Apparently, hey, up to 6 months of tyranny. In the Spain, by the way, because Boris mentioned Spain and France in his address tonight. 250 people died today. I've got absolutely no idea how many of them did truly die exclusively of COVID-19. How many had underlying conditions? I don't know how skewed the stats are, but I think it's fair to say they're skewed. So look, the new format for Daily Chaos is going to be less like live show based, and it's going to be more bite-sized interviews, like 10-15 minutes with whoever, folks. And hopefully there'll be, 4 or 5 of those a week, something like that. But that is the idea, with Billy bonuses thrown in for good measure. So anyway, there you go. Right, take care. God bless you. If you haven't registered yet, please do, because I've got no idea how long it'll be before I get banned from on Facebook or whatever, or maybe even YouTube. Who knows? The way things are going. dailychaos.news/register. And on a personal note, I see you in the comments there. Swanee, God bless you. It's really nice to see you about. And send Charlotte, give her a hug from me. All right, lots of love to you folks. Here's to us.